Hello and welcome back. It's Cellar Chats. I'm Chris. I'm in the cellar here at Second Glass. We're talking weekly wine flights. It is sunny, blue skies, slightly chilly. It is perfect October weather. And we're almost into November, which is terrifying and scary. Speaking of scary, Halloween next week. Who's excited? I'm excited. Who doesn't love Halloween? It's fantastic. I also, side note, fun fact, I don't like scary movies. I get scared easy. I'm a big wuss when it comes to scary movies. I do like Halloween movies. I just don't like them to be too scary. Anyways, moving on. This week we're talking, it's a Washington state of mind, and we're talking Washington wines. Because you know what? As we get into the cooler months, I start thinking of places that are perceptively colder. But Washington, where most of the wine grows, not necessarily a cold place most of the year. Pretty hot, high desert. But that being said, this week's flight features the lovely Andrew Will Sauvignon Blanc, what they call their Cuvée Lucia or Lucia, depending on who you talk to, from the Two Blondes Vineyard, rolling into Revelry Merlot, really overlooked, underappreciated grape variety. Washington does them very well. And then the ever favorite Gramercy Cellars, Syrah. Because you know what? Who doesn't love a little Gramercy Cellars Syrah? All right, let's jump into this. Again, Andrew Will. These guys, family run, really amazing group. Been in the biz for quite a while. One of those Washington producers that, at least in my humble opinion, continues to make really top-notch Bordeaux-inspired wines. Their top cuvées, which are always like Merlot or Cabernet Franc driven, are just some of the best coming out of the valley. And they work a lot in the Yakima Valley, which is part of the larger Columbia Valley AVA. But Yakima is on the far kind of western side of the Columbia Valley, a little bit closer to Seattle than most of the rest of Columbia Valley. And this is from the Two Blondes Vineyard, which they make reds off of. And this is an estate-owned vineyard that they own for Andrew Will. The winery itself is actually located closer to Seattle, and it's like on an island, which is super interesting. So if you ever visit there, it's one of those cool visits because it's just a really interesting concept of where they're located. But anyways, this is their kind of ode to white Bordeaux. Now it is labeled Sauvignon Blanc, but it does have about 15% Semillon in it. So classic white Bordeaux blend, Sauvignon Blanc, Semillon. It's done in a little bit of neutral wood and then stainless steel. It's such a pretty wine. This is not a Sauvignon Blanc for people who really love that high-toned citrus New Zealand or really love that minerally Sancerre. It has those things, but with that Semillon and a little bit of oak, it's just a more rounded, this is a complex winter Sauvignon Blanc. And you know what? Although it's not wintry out, it's definitely chilly. So I think it's a good time to get into it. On the nose, a little more stone fruit, less of that citrus fruit, maybe a little apricot, maybe a touch of melon. Wow. Man, is that good. Great mouthfeel, great texture. Kind of lingers on the palate. Definitely has what I'll call palate richness. It's not rich like a dessert or sweet or anything like that, but just a lot of palate presence, which makes this wine just so fun to drink. And just, albeit being a chilled white wine, it just kind of warms me up, makes me feel like it's wintertime, I'm loving it. I'm really into this cool weather vibe right now. It's just all the things I want in life, and we are crushing it right now locally. Other than the pollen, for whatever reason, it's been weird for me. I don't know. Has it been weird for you guys? Yes. Love. Kudos, guys. Again, that is Andrew Will, their Cuvée Lucia or Lucia. I'm going to go with Lucia. Lucia sounds good. Sauvignon Blanc from the Two Blondes Vineyard. 75% Sauvignon Blanc, 15% Semillon. And that Semillon gives you all the feels, gives you that like rounded texture and a little like kind of like honey meloned like character. It's really lovely. So good. I mean, don't take my word for it. Come out and taste it. It's killer. We're loving it. All right. Moving on into, yeah, you read that right. Merlot. Merlot from Revelry. I mean, I'm not going to harp on the whole, like, everybody hates Merlot, et cetera, all from that movie, yada, 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 whatever. The reality is, Merlot is delicious. It is one of the most historic and sought-after grape varieties from very special places, you know, wink, wink, nod, nod, specific wines from Bordeaux. And Merlot I think we had a Merlot in here not that long ago, and I harped on about it. So we're not going to dump into that. What we are going to say, at least in my humble opinion, again, apparently it's all about humble opinions today. Washington State Merlot, I think, really gets it right. You know, I think that as a whole, Washington continues to play second fiddle to Napa Valley when it comes to Bordeaux varieties. I mean, granted, a lot of the plantings are the same, a lot of the mentality is the same, but these are very different places. There's no one is denying that. But you know, no matter how much effort is put into it, I just don't see people getting past the fact that Napa or California is king when it comes to Cabernet Sauvignon. But I think Washington has some skin in the game to become like the it spot for Merlot and Cab Franc, particularly when done in like the Bordeaux style. And I think that these grape varieties work really well here. You know, it's obviously cooler overall. It's ultimately cooler overall. It's a little heavier soils, but it is just, what's the word I was looking for? My goodness, my brain stopped working. It just lends itself to Cab Franc, particularly done in like Bordeaux style, a little denser, a little richer, you know, because you're going to remember that Cab Franc also comes from Loire Valley, very different expressions. But anyways, let's move on from that. Let's talk about the wine in the glass. On the nose, beautiful, like plummy. I'm back. Sorry. Woo. I don't know if you guys were just staring at me stare off into space quietly, but it told me it was trying to reconnect, bad connection. Again, I need to find a new place to film. In the cellar is not ideal, I guess. Anyhow, basically what I want to say is this wine is juicy, delicious, really beautifully made. And you know, the thing I didn't point out, and I meant to, which was that, still having slow connection, we're kind of covering the gambit of like the classic areas of Columbia Valley. Now there are other like sub AVAs. So you got Revelry here, Columbia Valley, just generic, you know, we'll call it generic, just basic level Columbia Valley coming from a little bit of everywhere. You got the Sauvignon Blanc at the beginning coming from Yakima. Again, that's all the way on the west. And then we're going to round it out in Walla Walla. So we're running the gambit of like the primary things that you're going to see coming out of Washington State, which are Columbia Valley. Again, that's an overall category. And then the two main sub-AVAs that you see the most common are Yakima and Walla Walla. It is so silky, so pretty done. That plummy, fruity character is just spot on, crushing it, Revelry. Well done. Really, I haven't had that in a while, and it's drinking so well. All right, again, that is Revelry Vintners, their Merlot from Columbia Valley. Definitely a little bit of oak on there, but Merlot handles oak well. I mean, that's not a bad thing. You know, oak has gone through a bit of a hating spiral where everybody in wine, basically, not everybody, but a large majority of people, really wanted to hate on oak. But you know what? At the end of the day, it became a vessel for a reason, and it does really well with a lot of grape varieties. All right, moving into Gramercy Cellars, Walla Walla, Syrah. So again, we're off to the far eastern, kind of southeastern side of the Columbia Valley into Walla Walla. And I'd say that I feel like Walla Walla is a little bit more known for its Rhone varieties, which makes a lot of sense why Gramercy would be, you know, doing a lot there. You know, Gramercy Cellars, Greg Harrington definitely makes some really incredible, and his winemaker out there makes some great Bordeaux style wines, but Rhone is really where his heart is and where the love is, and it shows. Oh wow! So this wine, this does again all the feels today. All the feels. It's got the spice. It's got some beautiful richness. There's some oak here, but it's not overwhelming. It feels Northern Rhone, but while also feeling very New World. There's sunshine. There's freshness. It is a spectacular Syrah. And if you taste this wine and aren't convinced that you should maybe consider drinking Syrah more often, then I guess maybe Syrah's just not for you, because this wine just crushes it on all levels. A little more blackberry, some peppercorn, a little kind of meatiness, like really good beef jerky meatiness. Maybe that's going to turn people off, but it's the truth. It's there. Can't miss it. Blackberries, pepper, a little bit of herbaceousness. Man, that wine is good. Okay, quick wrap up. Again, last wine, slow connection. Last wine, Gramercy Cellars, Walla Walla. This week's flight to Washington State of Mind. Come on out, have some really, really fun wines from Washington State. Enjoy yourselves, get some plates, grab some friends, and get into the autumn vibe, because you know what? It's going to be November real soon, and then the holidays are here, and then the world is just never going to stop moving. It's going to be tons of fun. So cheers, everybody. See you next week.